Hello guys, Stefan here. Welcome to another pixel art stream. This tonight, I think I'm gonna try and make Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. That was a 1986 film by John Carpenter. A really interesting director, John Carpenter. Kind of a hit or miss guy, but he's made so many cult classics that it's hard to pass on that director as one of the most influential directors in probably in the past 40 years or something, 50 years. It really made a strong impression. So yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. Last time we did this guy, Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was a good one to make. It was fun. I really loved that movie. I've never seen the musical though. It's kind of a regret of mine, but I saw the film. I don't even know. I can't even count the number of times I've seen this film. I think it's really phenomenal, and Tim Curry in it is just out of this world. He's really a beast, and so much persona and charisma. Then, but keeping in the tradition of like famous, really highly charismatic characters, I thought Jack Burton would be a fun one to do. So so the film actually, Big Trouble in Little China, there was not a film that John Carpenter really meant to do. He was hired by the studio to do it, which is often the case. Weirdly enough, to me, I always have this impression that a director will, pick a script and then go to the studios and try to get it financed and then direct a movie. But in fact, most of the time, it works the other way around. The studio or someone or a scriptwriter will pitch something to the studio, and the studio will sort of organize the production around this and hire the director and the actors sometimes. So director is very much someone like someone to hire, just like any other artist or a performer. Which is strange to me, because you'd think that you really want directing a movie seems like such a personal experience. You get so much. These guys, they put so much into it when they want to make it right. So, but they get attached to a project, and sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they fight with the studio, most of the time, and sometimes they get fired and they replace them with someone else. But in the case of Big Trouble, it actually was a lot of trouble because the initially the two guys who wrote the story and the script, they made this. It was set in the 1800s, late 1800s, and it was a Western movie with the same sort of Chinese mysticism embedded to it. I guess something like. Maybe Kung Fu, the TV show or something. I mean, close to that. And in fact, it was based in around. It was supposed to happen in the San Francisco area, but the studios, they didn't like it too much. They liked the idea. They thought it was interesting, but they thought the script was not really fully realized. So they hired someone else to pretty much rewrite the entire thing. And that guy, what's his name? Freshman writer. I'm checking in real time here on Wikipedia because I don't know all that stuff by heart. Sometimes I do, but not in that case. What was the name of the other scriptwriter? Let me see. Find it. Walter Dutch Richter. So that guy, he rewrote the entire story. Thought that most of the stuff wasn't really working too much, and then he transposed the entire thing in a modern setting, and that's how we got Big Trouble in Little China. Um, but John Carpenter, he really liked the movie. He was actually happy with the final product, but the film was a big financial disaster. Really didn't make any money, even in the United States, and as it is often the case in cult movies, like this. Since then, this film has achieved cult status. Just like it's interesting because it's a similar story to what we were streaming last time with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Rocky Horror Picture Show was a disaster, even though the musical was pretty famous at the time when the film was released, and yet no one really was interested in the film until they used the midnight viewings, the midnight movies setting to try and boost the popularity, and it did work. But in the case of Jack Burton, that was a movie that made that had to wait for years and really got his popularity, as it is often the case for 80s and 90s movies in video. And this is where really the word of mouth started to work out for that film, and it became what it is now. And now you get like big fans of Big Trouble. I'm one of them. I think it's a great film. Actually, it's one of my favorite John Carpenter films. With interesting, with the two other ones are also with Kurt Russell, The Thing and Escape from New York. 81 and 82. 82, The Thing, really, for me, my favorite by far, by a long shot, favorite John Carpenter movie. But I love Escape from New York, and I really love Big Trouble too. So they, interestingly, the first time Kurt Russell worked with John Carpenter was not on Escape from New York, as many people think. But it was 2 years prior to this in a movie about Elvis Presley, if you can believe this. And it was a made-for-TV movie by John Carpenter. I think his first feature, if I'm not mistaken. And then they reunited 3 more times for during the 80s, where really Kurt Russell was at the peak of its glory as an actor. He's very well known at that time. So we'll try and make this guy. I did as usual back then when I was doing all those characters as very tiny sprites. I did a Jack Burton somewhere. Let me try and find it. What's this guy? Oh, over there, here. Let me try and move this around a little bit for you. So that was it. I think I'll go for a similar pose as the big sprite, because that's kind of his attitude. He's a fun character because he's the leading man, but he's very goofy, makes a lot of mistakes, and he really thinks he has the situation under control most of the time. But you realize that between knocking himself out, running out of bullets, all sorts of things he does are really badly. And his sidekick, his friend, interestingly, he's a martial art expert, does everything almost perfectly. So it's almost a reverse situation when the sidekick really is the guy, leading the charge, but and the supposedly leading man is the comic relief. So that was an interesting twist on the classic trope. So yeah, so it's a good pose for him. We need something fairly dynamic for him. I got a bunch of references that I gathered offline. There's this is for the famous tank top T-shirt. Yeah, that shirt is, I don't even know where how they came up with this, but this is pretty spectacular. Lots of fun bad taste in this character. He sports the mullet. He's got that T-shirt. I don't even know why he wears that. He's a trucker. He's got so much going for him. This is Drew Struzan art. The poster, as usual, pretty incredible art from Drew Struzan. This guy really captured his expression there really well. What a phenomenal artist, Drew Struzan. And I love when they used to do this, like have all those little characters and all those little. It's almost like there's 4 illustrations in one, and they sort of tell you the story of the movie without revealing too much. And it's like a collage of all the very strong moments in the film. Drew Struzan was an expert at that. He did so many of them, amazing ones. So yeah, this is really cool. It's a good pose too. I mean, it's kind of flat and simple, but it's I think it's still good because this character is always like arms out, sort of like welcoming, and a little bit of a, he's got this larger than life personality. So I think this suits him very well. I wouldn't imagine him having his arms, too close to the body or anything. So I think we'll try to go for something like this. I like this guy. He posed this figure in. He did a pretty good job at posing. I'm a little bit worried about that. I think it's a little bit awkward overall, but I think there's still some interesting things about it. So I may end up sort of trying to get inspired from this. It's possible. I took this also for the outfit. Figures are always good to get a good idea of the outfit, because you don't have to deal with the lighting and the blurriness of the actual film footage, so you get a really good accurate representation of the character. So yeah, that outfit is really terrible. It's good and terrible at the same time, and I guess that's exactly what they were aiming for. And I took this to get a better view of the shirt design and the gun. This is going to be an interesting challenge in Pixel, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll have to suggest it rather than show it as usual at that size. So we'll get into it. As usual, let's try and find someone in there that has a similar, body shape and pose or anything that can be used. I'm tempted to use Rambo, John Jay, but I'm a little, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to fight the muscular. Is a bit too big overall, so I don't know if it's the best. And as you, I mean, if you've seen me doing that stuff, you know that things tend to change very, very rapidly anyway. So it's not really that big of a deal. Well, I think we'll take him because I really like I think the legs, they're pretty much 1-to-1 exactly what should work for Jack Burton. Eventually we'll probably modify them a little bit, but it's a very good, it's very solid starting point, I think. So let's grab this guy. Where is he? They're all on separate layers. Every layer is one character. Sometimes I have a few more layers. I'll show you, like for Forrest Gump, I'll have the bench separate, shadow on the bench, the suitcase, and then the character. So where is our friend? It was fairly late. Oh, I read here. So Snake Plissken, did you know that since we're talking about here, since we're talking about I made still that head actually for because this is Kurt Russell after all. He's got sort of the same mullet, so I think I'll steal that head to try and apply it on Jack Burton. But did you know that Snake Plissken, the character from Kojima, from Solid Snake from the Metal Gear franchise, was inspired directly by Snake Plissken, and his name he just directly stole the name Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, because he was a big fan of the movie. So let's see, where is he? Marty McFly, there you go. Let's copy him over. Same thing, bring him down the list, since he's gonna be the latest one, and we'll just put it there. Then we'll just go right into it. As usual, in the beginning, and we'll go fairly sloppy and fast, just to get a sense of the pose. I'm still questioning what kind of pose I should do. I think I will probably do about the same as what I did with the small one. In fact, I think it might be a good idea. Where is he? Where are you, Jack? This is the problem when you have too many layers to try and find something. Let me give you a little trick in Photoshop. Let's say, well, there's a limitation to that trick. I'll show you what it is. But, okay. Let's say you don't really know which, you know, you're here somewhere, and you don't know, you have a ton of layers, and you don't really know which one is this guy, right? So right now, if I move a layer, then nothing happens because I'm not on the right layer, I'm not on him. But if you're in the move mode there, you take the move tool, okay, and then you hit Control on PC, and on Mac it's the Command key, and you hit a pixel of that layer, then it will automatically select the right layer for you. So that's a really good thing. The only drawback to that is that if all the layers are in a folder like this, it will select the entire folder, which really sucks. And I don't know why they did this exactly, but they did. So let's say now if I put the same layer outside of any folder, like this, for instance. No, this is still in a folder. Let's say here. So now I'll show you. If I want to go and select Conan there, you see it's there. I will hit Control and then move him. But see what's happening. It's grabbing everything because it can't tell that it's this layer because it's in this folder, which is really ridiculous. I don't know why they never fixed this, but as far as I know, it still hasn't been fixed. However, now let's say I'm gonna go here and I want to select that little Jack Burton here that we left or somewhere. So I'm not on the layer is here, see? But if I do this now, you see, went to the right layer, and then I can just move it around. So this is really good as long as you have many layers that are not in folders, which is kind of, you know, odd because that's the whole point of having the folders, to reorganize your many layers. So it's a good trick, but it only works so, you know, to a certain point. But I thought I would show you guys this because when someone showed me this, so I found it, I don't know, years ago, I was pretty happy. Okay, so we'll just I'm just gonna put it right next to the big character, just to get a little bit of a reference. And we'll turn this off. Okay, so now we'll go back on our my copy, and we're good to go. So let's see. This is not bad. I wonder if I should twist his body as much as that. I kind of like the really what Jewish Fusion did with the big, you know, sort of like wide open stance. You know, it really shows his personality, how he is. He's overconfident. Let's put it that way. So I think I'll try and go for that. We'll see if this works or not. Scary than that. When I delete, usually I try to get like I'll pick at least one pixel here, maybe one here, just to try and keep the palette. Otherwise, I'll have to, you know, this is skin in shadow. This is skin in light. This is highlight. So I get a good, you know, starting palette. I don't have to figure out what was the colors that I picked originally. He's leaning back a little bit. You know, his back is a little arched. He's really the puff chest, you know. So it would be nice to try and get this. I have no idea if I can pull this off, but we'll see if we can. We'll just paint medium color for now, and try and get something. It's always a bit scary when you start like this, because you know you don't really get a sense of how this is gonna end up, and it looks a little ugly, but I think one of the key things, I think I'm gonna put that arm in shadow, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, you have to just, you know, go for it and not be too shy or concerned about making mistakes, and for if you're lucky and patient, and things might pan out the way you want, you know. But it's really a matter of not giving up, and not being scared of making mistakes. So would recommend going pretty fast in the beginning. Looks a bit fat right now, so we're gonna just shave a little bit there. It's really important to try and get not really good in anatomy, so sorry about that. But you know, that part there, that muscle, whatever it is, I'm sure someone will know and tell me. And get the waist, you know, he really has the hero shape. Save just quickly. We could just throw the and see, he's pretty small at the moment, so I'm gonna have to just really beef him up overall. So we're gonna go and do that already. Over time, the latest character that I've done, I've ended up bigger than the first ones that I did some month or even years ago in some cases. So so I'll have to adjust for that a little bit, because you see, if I take actual Marty McFly over there, he looks a little small compared to Frankenfurter. This is a bit different because, I mean, this is supposed to be a really big character, but you see, he's just a little bit small overall now. So over time, scale has evolved a little bit. I mean, but you could consider that both of them are fairly short guys. You know, they're teenagers, and both actors actually, Matthew Broderick and especially what's his name? Well, Marty McFly's actor. I'll find it. It'll come back. There were Marty McFly is a very short guy, so it could make sense, you know. But I still think that I will probably give him a couple more pixels in the end. But it doesn't work for Kurt Russell. So we'll just give him a little bit more size. Thankfully, pixel art is that's the good thing about pixel art, is it doesn't take a long time to really to get a character, you know, make a big proportion, you know, scale adjustment. It would take forever if it was an illustration, you know, like a full-fledged high-resolution illustration. But in that case, it's pretty fast. I tend to always flip the character like this just to get a sense of, you know, is this working or not? Someone's texting me. Hold on just a second. He's got the nice. I think he's starting to get the idea, the you know, the arched back and the lean. Bit too much, a bit unbalanced right now. We'll eventually we'll fix this if we can. Always try to get the waistline to go around about the same for every character. So I think his size there is good, you know, like normal. Doesn't seem too small now. And you see, really, we added like what, couple of pixels, maybe 1 or 2. Really not that much, but it's enough for it's enough for in pixel art to make a big difference. Ash Williams, you see where the waist ends, so that's about right. So I think that's about right. We'll, it's okay for him. I kind of want to be a bit lazy there and already grab his face. It won't work as is, but it might just give me a bit of a, you know, starting point. Snake, we're gonna borrow your head, Snake. Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Get him over there. Okay, get the floating head, flip it like this, and there you go. See, doesn't take long, and it just gives us a little bit of a something to work with. And I will probably change it quite a bit. Actually, one thing is, obviously we don't want the eye patch and everything, but that's fine. We'll deal with that later. It's not right now. Going into that sort of detail would be a mistake, in my opinion. I try to always get most of what I need in terms of like the big, you know, big strokes first, and then we'll have to beef his legs a little bit, because since we grew him in size, we can't have him too skinny. He's supposed to be a fairly fit guy. Apparently he trained quite a bit before taking the part for Jack Burton. But I think he never really had any trouble in the physical roles. It's kind of the kind of guy he is. I'm going to try and get this ugly shirt in right now. I didn't block it in earlier because I just wanted to get a sense for at least basic body shape, but I think safe enough to do. So we'll start with an off white. Now, I never go full white because then it's a bit it tends to be blowing out really easily. So we'll go with a little bit of a yellowish tint. Very, very light, you know, it doesn't have to be. And it may change, it will probably change, but for now, this is good enough. What am I doing? Okay, let's try and get the shape more or less. It shouldn't be too hard. I really want to get that, you know. This is interesting. It's only a few pixels. This is the issue with the white characters, is that they blend with the white background. But what we can do there is just we'll start shading just a little bit. Trick for that in Photoshop, this is what I usually do. I'll show you a step by step so you see it. So now I have my color there, right? This is my basic color, and you see I can paint 100% opacity. Everything is 100%, normal 100%. Okay, so basic pixel. Now I want to darken this a little bit. So with the same color, I will go to multiply. So what this will do is this will multiply the color on top of it, and when you multiply colors, everything gets darker. You know, the new color will always get darker. It's like if you have done real paints, the more you mix paints, the darker eventually things get, right? And well, this is the same idea. So now you see, if I paint on top, then if I paint once, then I get a darker color. If I paint again on top, it will go even darker, and then even, and then even. So this is a good way to try to pick some colors and to try and shade later on, you know. So instead of going this and then pick the color, you know, and then try and say maybe here, you know, I can just go pick the color and then paint, and then if I think it's too light, then I'll paint maybe at 50% here one more time. This is a bit darker. Once I'm happy with the color, I can just pick it and I go back to normal 100%, and now I will effectively paint with that color all the time. So now all I have to do is like either pick this one or pick this one, and I can shade the character. You see, it's very easy to do. It's a bit of a gymnastics, some mind gymnastics that you have to remember in the beginning, but if you do it often enough, it'll come very naturally. And even better, if you activate here preserve transparency on your layer. This is our layer, and this is here preserve transparency. I can't paint now outside where there is already some pixels. If there is a pixel, it will allow it to be painted. If not, it won't paint anything. So it's almost like it's like a guide to prevent you from painting outside of the character. So if we combine those two things, now I have a preserve transparency on. Okay, pick that color, go to multiply, and now I can paint, and you see I won't be able to go outside. That's simple as that. I'll turn it off for now because I may change the silhouette, but when you're really happy with a silhouette for a character and you really don't want to mess that up, it's a good way of doing this. So let's go back to normal 100%. Pretty happy with that. It's enough for now. Really the goal, let's see if we can arrange for a new window. I want to be able to see how he reads at a smaller size, so this is probably about right. The good thing now is at least I can read the outline of the character a little bit. I think it's still a little too light, so we'll go maybe just a little more like this. I think should be enough. Okay. And in the beginning, I really don't want to introduce lots of different lots of shades and colors. I just want to keep it very. I want to be very conservative. After all, it's pixel art, and you want to try and save your colors. You know your. And plus the real reason, because frankly, it's not like I'm making a game for 16-bit palette or anything. The real reason for me is that it helps for clarity. The when you start shading a lot and having a lot of different colors, the art tends to be less readable and a little bit muddy. So I feel like it's always better to try and do with the minimal amount of colors that you can afford. And then just be very mindful about how you every time you want to add a color, then that's fine, you know, or for shading, I mean. But I think you have to be mindful of how then readable everything is, or if you've lost some of that clarity, and you know, if things start getting a bit messy, then you may want to reconsider. And it's easier too, you know, because it forces you to focus on like the big shapes. So here I'm gonna just use this to really just shade him a little bit, you know, get some form into him. Oops. But I don't need to go overboard. I will probably end up with just that value. So now we'll probably start getting a little bit slower because, you know, I have a character that sort of starts to get where it should be. So now I have to be a little bit more careful about how I will do things, you know. So you'll see me probably slowing down a little bit because the big chunks are there, more or less. I still think his body seems very big compared to the legs. Seems like those legs are a little bit too skinny. They wouldn't be able to support that mass. So I'll go a little bigger on legs, but I don't want him to look super buff either, because I don't think that's what the character is. So, oh, actually here we're gonna have boots, so never mind. So I think I will go a little bit of both. I will probably try to make him just a little less big overall, and then try and make this work with his legs. Might be okay. So there's gonna be, let's do the boots, because I feel like right now this is a big chunk missing. So we'll pick a color for that, some kind of brownish around here probably. Not too saturated. Saturation is always a tricky thing. It's easy to go overboard with saturation. What does that do? It's not bad, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's probably alright. So we'll just do this for now. We'll have to suggest those little, you know, buttons. They're a big part of, I think, of that design. It's very recognizable. At least fans will probably recognize that easily. Not too sure right now. Just trying to get a sense for the shape. Bit silent there for a second. Sorry, just trying to get this to work. It's not too bad for now. Not super excited, but okay. With the boots or stuff like this, it's important to try. I feel like to try and get the you know the overall direction of the leg preserved. You don't want to go like this and then the boot to sort of like go on a different angle. Like you don't want to do like there's a nice clean line there, but and you don't want then the boot to go like this or do this and then kind of like cut and feel like it's not following properly. So like this, trying to get something that feels about right, because his legs, he's not really doing anything too special there, so there's no reason that there would be a huge angle or direction shift. I have to be mindful of the thickness too. I don't want to go too much. Let's flip him just a second. See, it's all right, but it's not great. I think these legs need work. And this one too, actually. Some stuff can take a little bit of time. You have to be, like I said, you have to be patient. It's not it's not worth rushing into it and trying to rush it, and just take the time to try and make this work. And oftentimes it'll take quite a bit of back and forth, but it's it's part of making something like this. You just have to accept the fact that nothing will come for free. Sometimes things come for free, but it's very rare. So okay, so the body still doesn't really work. So the blue jeans, they were actually pretty high waist, because it was the 80s after all. So something we have to probably try and convey. Not the most elegant outfit, but it was that time, It was the 80s. Very, very ugly clothes in the 80s. And I'm a kid from the 80s, so I know what I'm talking about. Very bad stuff. I think it has to be one of the ugliest times in human history that I know of for clothing. But I also think it's, to me, probably the best era ever for movies. So, again, probably biased because I guess that I was a kid in the 80s. Yeah, it's still too big, just too fat overall. We have to just come down there on this, I think. His head's gonna look a little big, I think, so we may have to take care of that. It's not that I'm trying to really. Well, never mind for the head for now. We'll just keep it this way. So he's leaning back too much now. So I'm gonna do something. Usually in that case, this is what I do. I will just try and get to him to his posture to. It's too much. Oftentimes a single pixel will help. So you see, it's always very useful to do that because you get a better idea. Okay. That film was it really marked the divorce between John Carpenter and Hollywood. After that, he was mainly making more independent movies. He was getting he was really he was very tired of the way the producers and marketing executives and studios generally would treat the film. And actually, he blames really the studio for the film's financial, the lack of success of the movie. I think it was not really well supported by the studio and all that. So he's really not happy with what they did. Decided to go on his own and do his thing, try and finance his movies, and on a smaller scale, but at least something that he could be that he would have more control over. I think a lot of I'm checking the size regularly because it's easy enough in pixel art to 1 pixel at a time to sort of modify quite drastically the overall size or the silhouette or anything. So you want to try and avoid to do that. So I'm just checking, he's pretty big, but I think the head seems big. So just by working a little bit on the head, we might get a pixel there, and it'll be more in line with Ash Williams. Jack Burton and Ash Williams together. Wouldn't that be a great team? Like, that would be a fun thing to watch. Very unlikely. Actually, they're making a remake right now. They're rebooting Big Trouble in Little China, and I think there's big signs of trouble already. No pun intended. Dwayne Johnson is the main guy in it. He's going to take the mantle. And John Carpenter was attached a little bit to the project, or at least I think Dwayne Johnson wanted John Carpenter's involvement, or at the very least his blessing. But truth be told, Carpenter has been less than favorable with the idea, to say the least. He's been very public about it, that he hates the idea of a remake, which honestly, considering the horrendous remakes they made with his films, like The Thing, which was not a remake, I guess it was a prequel, but whether it is The Thing or what else did they try to reboot, all sorts of horrible films. They're gonna go for Escape from New York again, I guarantee you. I mean, unless they destroy all of them, they'll never be happy. It's very strange to me why they keep doing those remakes. I don't even think that they make that much money. Plus, making a remake, I mean, I guess this film has gained a cult status, but even then, is it really something that will push, that will have people flock into the theaters? I mean, who cares about Jack Burton right now? Except for people from, that knew that characters from the 80s. It's a little, it's kind of weird to me. I think I'm gonna do this because it's just his outline is just too hard to read, so we'll just shade him like he's almost getting a front lit, and all the shadows going on the side, which is acceptable, I think. Not my preferred choice, but in a case like this, it might be the only valid way. Just gonna do a little bit of shading there because I only want to read the arm versus the body there, like I was saying. A bit tricky to get, but hopefully we can make this work. So yeah, I don't know about that remake, man. I don't hold my breath for it, that's for sure. It might be good. I mean, you never know until you've actually seen the film. But I don't know. With Dwayne Johnson attached to it, on paper, it's not looking very good already. I mean, I have nothing against Dwayne Johnson, but I don't know. He's done a lot of very, very questionable movies, and I hope you will respect the character. But it's very hard to make a remake or a reboot or sequel or prequel. Just the fact that those films, they're from the 80s. It was a different time, and there is this innocence in those audiences were very different too. I don't think the audience were as sophisticated as they are now, at least in terms of pure like the level of to what they accept. They're a bit more picky in terms of everything has to be sort of super tight and really well done and clean. So, but in the 80s there was this, no one really cared, so you could make movies that were a little bit more silly and the films didn't take themselves seriously. Matte painting art was a little odd sometimes, all over the place. Even design was a little odd, but there was this sort of like fun madness to it. I think that that now has been lost. I think you don't really see that much in movies anymore. At least coming from Hollywood, I think you still see a lot of that in independent movies, but in Hollywood, that's not really something that they go for anymore. Everybody's just become so serious, you know. Everything is serious now. Let's say it's not going well. It's okay. We'll fix this eventually. We'll find a way. I mean, that haircut was interesting. There's actually a lot of... See, this is interesting because there's a lot of hair above his head. It's actually very thick. So I think I still need that line. I really do. So where do we put the gun? Let me see. Oop. That's my bug where Photoshop where a window will just snap to the entire frame. I guess doesn't really matter. You could go left or right. Well, we'll go right. Well, this arm might be more in shadow, but I may change since the lighting is more front now, so that's fine. I'll just block in some gun thing, and we'll go with that. It's too black. I'm just gonna oops, wrong button, sorry. Wait a minute, what is this? This is very weird. Okay, let's do that again. Sorry about that. It's the user's fault on the program. Yeah, I was saying this is too bad. I was trying to desperately to select this. Okay, here we go. I'm going just a little lighter for now. Doesn't really matter that much, but I just want to go. Don't want to go pitch black. So let's do this. Sometimes what I'll do is this too. So changing the background to see will help you to figure what the colors work. If the relationship between different values, if they work together. Something I think that I messed up in values right now is you see the boots are much darker than the pants, so I think I need to go a little darker there. We'll do that right away, just before I forgot. Like this. Let's go back to the gun, trying to finish this. I need this reference. Like I said, I have a 13-inch laptop. This is what I work on, and so this is why you see me shuffling around Windows all the time, because I don't really have a lot of real estate. It's fine, but it would be a little more convenient with more room, that's for sure. So hands at this size are always, you know, they're never really great. You just have to live with it. I mean, you try to make them as as well as you can, but there's really not that much room. So it's more like trying to suggest with a few pixels. It's kind of an ugly gun too. I'm not a super fan of that. I don't really know much about guns though, but it looks like some kind of, what do they call that? Some kind of like submachine gun or something? No, I don't know. Who knows? Someone knows, and they'll probably tell me either in the chat or somewhere. Guess we'll do that for now. Scarier than that, we won't need it anymore since we have most of the stuff blocked in now. And so left end we could go nothing, or we could go the little I guess we could just put the this. I like having watches. I feel like they're nice with a little touch to just easy little detail to get in, you know. Let's see if we can have him hold this thing. So that's the I guess that's the radio, right, from the truck. The watch kind of gets in the way of things. Guess we could do that for now. So he's I think he's slowly getting there. Yeah, I think pose overalls it's not too bad. I still think the legs, they don't quite work. I think I need to have him a little bit more, bit more of a wider stance on the legs. It's a bit too small for him. And so we'll see if this helps a little bit. We're getting close to that dreaded moment where we're gonna have to get into that t-shirt, that shirt design. Scares me a little bit because yeah, there's not that much room there. But I think looking at this, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not this pose or it's not this pose either, but it's something that sort of works for him, I think. I kind of want to, I'm going to keep this on the side. I want to try and flip torso with legs just to see. I'm just curious about something. If it's going to be too much or not. It might be better. Let's see. I don't know. Because I feel like he looks a little unbalanced there. Kind of he's leaning too much this side. So I was trying to rebalance it by flipping the torso to legs. I think it might be a solution. Yeah, I think it might be better. But then in that case, I think we may have to flip the head too, strangely enough. Let's see. Bit of a Frankenstein operation there. I'm gonna have to turn his head quite a bit. Actually, you know what? Here's something that I want to try real quick. Because I like this head. I'm just gonna grab Ash Williams' head. Because I really want him to look on the side, I think. So small, dynamic. We'll see. It might not work at all, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna kill this. Just keep the hair for now. See if there's a way to just this might be a way to do it. So we'll see what it does. For now, let's just think you might. Yeah, I think this might be a good thing. Position is weird. The neck is too big, but I think maybe there's something to do with that. We need quite a bit of shifting and stuff there, but let's try and get less hair on that side. Actually, now we don't need that much hair on the top, which is good because now we're gonna get back our pixel that we were trying to get earlier because it was a little bit too high. No, this is not right. His forehead seems to, yeah, the forehead was too small. So actually, yeah, never mind. We may not get this pixel back, but that's fine. But I'm afraid that the head will look too big. So I have to be careful with that. Might be okay. So we have this. Yeah, I think this head is alright. Let's now let's transfer that head over to him. Get rid of that. This. So now we can compare apple to apple. Compare what's the best option in terms of, like, you know, head direction, body, twist, legs, all that stuff. Several options there. I think this is probably the best. Let's see. Turn it. Flip him around. Yes, I think this is good. I felt pretty good about that one. Because see, this is what's interesting in something like this is that you feel like his legs, they're more like, his pelvis is more like this way, just a little bit, tiny bit. It's almost straight, but not quite. Whereas his torso is more flipped this way, and then his head is back this way. So you got this sort of like thing going on. And this is always much more dynamic for a character than having everything facing. You're basically creating twists, twist this way, twist this way, and then twist this way, right? And this is really helpful when you want to try and get a more dynamic pose, I feel. So yeah, I think this is not too bad. Hold on. Just to make sure. Just compare it a bit. Yeah, this is a bit too flat, I think. This is better. We're gonna keep this. Just start naming him. It's always a tradition with me. When I feel like I'm getting the character closer to the character, I'll stop. And it gives me that right to name him. Jack Burton. Okay, so we'll go flip this way. Put the gun on the right hand. Okay, a little bit of shading on the hair. Not too much. Not much needed there. I don't know what to do with that. Let's try nothing. It's gonna be one of those cases, one of those horrible, annoying cases where one line is too much and no line is not enough. This is like so typical what happens in Pixar. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those. We'll try this because I don't want him to look like he's got like a female haircut, like long hair. It's more like there, on the neck that you see the hair. So with his head turned that way, I think it's probably better to just have just a little bit. We could also do something like this, just have just a little bit of a line, but it's just not gonna work because it's messing the and if I have like two lines, then it's a different haircut. It looks like he's got a lot of hair on him, so can't do that. So we'll in that case, I think we can afford a little bit of anti-aliasing there. Something I don't normally do, but just to shave a little bit of it's just too much, a bit too thick, too big there. Actually, I think let's try this too. No, I think it's, but you see, there's still too much here. Still something that doesn't quite work. I think this is a bit better. Hair it's very tricky, very difficult to do. So easy. Yeah, this is okay because it has really that's sort of like a squared look, you know. If you look at you take big line there, and you see there's really this, going on. So I think that's the one thing that makes it different from someone who has a lot of hair, where it's more like rounded everywhere. So this is more like the mullet, I guess we'll go with this. Okay, let's go back to 1 pixel. Now, what do you say that we try and get this shirt? Let's take this maybe. So here we go. So in a case like this, we'll have to use pretty faded colors, not only because it seems like it's the case in the film, but also because otherwise everything will be way too much in your face, or really big and bold. It's not gonna look good for him. Before I do that, let me quickly try and suggest a little bit of more pecs or whatever. Feels like this area is really flat and empty. Needs a little bit of something. So we can play a little bit with the lighting too. This is not cool because you get this line there, but 2 is a bit big and flat, so it's not. It's a bit tricky to get this to work well. Let's see. Yeah, really annoying. This is a bad situation really there. I have to go for a little bit of a anti-aliasing there also. I'm afraid not something I like to do, but in a case like this, it might be just a bit too. This is not bad. Maybe, let's see. Trying to figure how much you see of the. I think here we could probably go. And then convey the muscle there a bit more. Yeah, I think this may work. At this point, it's gonna get more and more finicky, and you'll see me is dating a lot and doing all sorts of like maybe this, maybe that, back and forth all the time. But that's a bit necessary. I always like to suggest the pegs there, but unfortunately here there's going to be a lot of chaos due to the design in the shirt. So right now I want to refrain to put too much shading in that area, because it's going to be difficult to do both at the same time. So I'll try to focus on the design first, and then we'll see if we can still get some of that shading. So it's I think it's about time to do it now. Let's try and do that. So Fran, he's got the big sun, the big red sun. So go red. probably be all wrong, but that's okay. You know, that design, I think we're gonna do it on a separate layer on top, because I don't feel like losing this, and I want to be able to sort of easily move that design around and do all sorts of things. So so it's easier on a separate layer in a case like this, and then I can play with the opacity after that to try and make it a little less you know, strong. Now it's the game of really, when you look at this, it's trying to figure what is it that you see, you know, from a distance. What are the big shapes? Because we're not going to be able to get all that detail in. So obviously, you know, the big red sun, but then there's this shape that we see, and this shape, this, and then there's that, and everything else is kind of like a bluish something. So really, we're talking about like head, sun, yin yang, and maybe those three things. So we'll try to go more or less with that, and see where that leads us. So okay, I'm gonna need some kind of a yellowish, that, and something that feels like green, I guess. Bit too colorful and stuff, but we can adjust that. So you can see that it really comes down to a few tiny pixels. And then there's the whole placement that really matters, you know, how big it is and how much of the chest it takes. It's a very unfriendly pixel art design, this thing. It's I'll show you, it's actually quite similar to when I was trying to do the the Galaga from '81, the classic Galaga arcade cabinet. Boy, this design, all that stuff is very complicated. There's a lot of stuff in it, and actually it's not looking very good. I mean, in the real arcade cabinet, at least in my opinion. So doing this was really challenging, actually. And then yeah, I had to do it this one in perspective on top of that. So it's kind of tricky to try and get this to read more or less like the arcade cabinet. I'll show you the since we're here, you know, looking at this Galaga arcade cabinet. Okay, here. Let's see. Can I find a good picture? So this is the design on the side. So you see, this is it's kind of like oof, and then there's that, and then the bottom is just a mess. You know, it's really let's see if we can find a picture of the bottom part. No. Oh. These guys are selling one. Yeah, so see all this stuff there to try and get this to fit into this little thing. Quite difficult, to say the least. See, But I try to get the red eyes and the whatever this is, because I don't even know what this is. The yellow. And that's really, and those lines, you know. But yeah, this is it's the kind of stuff that you can never really get, so you just sort of have to, you know, settle for a suggestion of it. So back to our guy here, Jack. This is a case where I will have to use some anti-aliasing, because otherwise there's just no way some of the shapes will come through. And that's I mean, I feel like in cases like this, it's kind of all right. You know, I mean, you just have to do what you can. You know, I try to get the eyes. I think this is this may work. But again, all that stuff, you see, it's kind of annoying because it kills the eye. I have to, but if I move this, then I kill this eye. So yeah, this one's gonna take us just a little bit of time. But I guess this is not too bad. Now we have like a back tangent here. You see sun is coinciding with the top of the head, which is clearly not the case there. So we have to fix this. I guess we'll go lower and make the sun a little bigger. Will be more like the main thing, you know. There, and then here we'll go some kind of magenta-ish, bluish something, and we'll try and convey that sort of stuff. And I don't worry too much about the colors at this point, because like I said, I'm just gonna eventually change this, and I'll fade it probably, you see. Not to that point, but we'll try to find a good balance where it reads, but it's not too overwhelming, because really those things, they tend to really grab way too much attention. That's not something that that I want, you know. I think trying to suggest a little button here, maybe a little lighter, with maybe shadow, just to get a bit, oops, get a bit of detail there. It's probably a little too much. I don't want to overdo that sort of stuff. Actually, hold on. This should have been on the main layer. Okay. The question is, do I try to get this outline? We could try, but obviously, you know, the scale is completely wrong. But if we do it really almost to nothing, it might help a little bit. I think this is something we can do. We'll try to get just to cut out a little bit the character against the sun. think this color is too light, too dark, I mean. Here we need to separate the that sun from the face. Oh boy, this is a tricky one. It's kind of, we'll have to go a little higher. It's cheating a little bit. I feel like it's getting a bit too high there. You see there's quite a bit of, it's just nice a little lower though. But here I would like to try and get that sun to read a little bit better against that. I mean, here we're talking really about some. It's almost like an impossible task, you know. But we do the best we can, at least. Try and I wish I could have the dots, you know, but I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's better to just let me clean that up a little bit. And there's a little bit of green there as well, but so I think that's probably about as good as it's gonna get. Now I'm going to fade the opacity a little bit because I'm not too fan of this being too, you know, strong. So maybe around here that'd be okay. I wonder if I should go a little higher still. It's hard to tell. Now let's see if we can still get the. Why is this not? Oh, hold on. Still gonna get this. And here we'll kind of want to commit to the shirt now. It's a bit scary, but to the design of the shirt, and have this on one layer. I mean, it could keep it separate, but I guess I could for now. Might be a little. Like putting too much anti-aliasing, but on something like this, if you don't, it will look super blocky. Let's see, let's flip this. Yeah, at least I like the pose. I think the pose is all right. Now that t-shirt, that shirt design, I mean, sure, I guess it's all right, but oops, sorry. What am I doing? Hold on, just a second. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. This is not going well. Just want to feel a little bit of pants going around, you know. But that's not doing it. Let me get this. Well, I guess that's what it's gonna be. No. I'm gonna have to start shading the arms too a little better, because I haven't done any of this yet. And this is pretty important. Just want to see how contrasted I can afford to be. Oops, don't go overboard. Let's see if we can get maybe a little bit more light in very easy to overshade things. Generally I don't like doing this too much, but I still want you know, to give some form to the arms, otherwise they look just like flat noodles. So you'll see always a lot less shading on the arm that is in shadow. Because if you detail, if you contrast and add too much shading on that arm, it will look wrong. So let's try again. So I think this arm looks a little short. Oops, a little short. Something's not quite right there. So that's the magic of. See, this is the beauty of it. This is what I love about Pixelon. It takes me 2 seconds to fix something. If it was an actual like a big illustration, it would take me forever, you know. I would hate myself for not seeing it earlier. Be careful here. It's getting a little bit delicate there. It's hard not to mess up, you know, too much structure of the arm. It's getting a little bit better. I guess here we should have the because there's a little I mean, it was ripped. The cord was ripped off from you know, the cord from the radio, I think. Here you see. So can I suggest a little bit of a cord? I mean, this is like, I guess I'll have to do it. Sorry. Just a bit of something. It's really not that big of a deal, but might as well have it. I think I may be a little off in color for the pants. Am I? Yeah, I think it's a bit too green. So we'll go with the blue that has a little bit more red in it. It's very easy to do in Photoshop. I'll go image adjustment, and here you have color balance. You'll see this is in the midtones. We'll do it, but I'll propagate this to everything. We'll say mainly in the midtones, add a little bit of red here, so go this way to go more red. You see now the pants, they get this, they take this more purplish color. which is closer to what he has in the film. Plus a little bit of kick to it. Looks a little dark, so we can push back some of that in it. Bring back some contrast and color into it. That's a better color for him. Now, okay, I jump a lot around. See, let's try and get this finished more or less. I think everything there is about right. I mean, I hate to say right because it's never quite right, but it's, you know, it's something. Here, I'll try and just give a little bit of a just a bit of shading to the gun. Not much. Can't really do much there, fortunately. I wonder if I need a little bit more. Yeah, I think this works better for him. I mean, it's not perfect, you know, by any means. Wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. Damn you, hand. This is always the worst to do. Just never feels quite right. I'm messing it up even more. Hold on. Let's go back to the reference. Okay. Regroup. It's always incredibly difficult to do. You would think that there's not that many combination of pixels in there that you could find the proper, you know, the best fairly easily, but in fact it's often not the case. I really need that pixel there somewhere. Yeah, this stuff can sometimes just drives me Crazy. Like wordy, man. Well, I'll try not to swear, but I'm so tempted right now. You can't imagine. It would feel so satisfying. This is the kind of stuff that will test your patience in Pixelon, but you can't give in. You have to just do your best to be patient and try and find a. What bothers me here is that it's always too straight, and you don't feel you have to have a cut, because the forearm is you're thicker there at the base, and then sort of tapers in, and then the wrist gets thinner. So I'm trying to get some of that, but I don't want his wrist to become too fragile and small, and so it kind of really puts me in a position where I can't quite get the right thing. This has to go with anti-aliasing in that case. Unfortunately, we need to have like half pixels, because otherwise it'll never work. I'm still not happy with it anyway. Oh god. He's not doing what I want. You, Jack. Why are you so mean to me? Okay, that's a bit better. We got the thing there. Oh, I'm so afraid to put this pixel back there. Urgh. Okay, I guess this is sort of vaguely alright. Not great still. One thing we could do is maybe just. Oh, I think if we give him just a little bit more, we might be alright. Let's try that. Oh, I'm gonna be right back where I was. This is so horrible. No, this one. No. Now we're really in a world of pain of Pixelon. Where it's all like everything's just a bit annoying. Okay, you know what? This is gonna be it for now, I think. And I will probably sort of mess with this longer offline because it's gonna be really annoying for you guys to keep watching me doing all that painful I'll clean up the palette offline too, because this is not, because there's too many colors that are similar but not really. So that sort of stuff usually I will just do offline because it's really not fun to watch. So we'll do that offline. I mean, I'll do it offline. But we're getting close now. We're getting close. He's not too bad. He's not. He's less offensive than he was a few minutes ago. If I'm gonna go, I kind of like the thick neck for him, but it's just too much, you know. So it's a shame, but I guess we have to live with that. I think now we're getting really close now. So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe try and get the boots, and then we'll probably call this one done. I'll show you again. Remember when I told you how to do go darker and find a darker color? There's a good way to do the opposite and find lighter. So same thing, pick this color and go here in screen mode, and it's the opposite. It will add the color on top, and so it will lighten. So 40% opacity, same color, and I get a different color. Now that seems about right for shading to get a little lighter. So now I can pick this one, go back to normal, 100%, and now I have my new color to shade, right? So that's just a little trick again that you can use if you don't want to, you know, spend too much time looking for the right color. Might be a bit too light, in which case I'll pick the dark color still in normal, and I'll do, like, for instance, 50%, and then here I can go again, I can go preserve transparency, so I'm not going to paint outside the character, and I can just do this, and now what I've done is that I've applied 50% of that color on that one. So now the shading is a little less visible, you know. I'll do 30%. I think that's about right. So we'll take this. That's our new shading color. The light color, if you will. Key light, or whatever you want to call this. Forgot preserve transparency there. I'm gonna have him a little more like feet outside, because that goes with the character a little bit more. It's not worth spending too much time in shading there because it's really dark anyway. So just the top of the foot, you know. Tend to do that very often. And now we can try and get those little buttons in. Where are they? Where's the button first? I guess I don't need that guy anymore. Save this. And here. So in a case like this, there's absolutely no way you're gonna have the room to put all the buttons, right? So what we can do is just we'll just have a few, and hopefully I hate when it does. Hopefully it won't look too bad. And if we can't make them work, then you know we'll probably have to let it go, which you know, sometimes like I said, in pixel art you just can't get everything you want, really. And so in that case you try to go for what's really worth you know, putting a lot of time and effort into it. If something just looks wrong and can't be really done in pixel for that character, then you know, just sometimes it's better to put your effort into something that will have a bit stronger impact on the character in the end. At least this is what I've found. You will have to go a little bit into aliasing because, again, I mean, it's really, it's a bad angle too. Very bad angle. And okay, I think maybe let's see. Yes, this is difficult because it fights the it really messes the outline of the book, you know, the silhouette. It's very hard to get something like this to work. Try my best, but you see, it's not great. Not a big fan so far of what it does. Not great, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't like this straight line, honestly. It's kind of the best that I can get here. I think I'm gonna make them less visible anyway, because it's more of a case of where I feel like if people that are a fan of the movie, they can spot it and they know it's there, then it's enough, you know. And I guess we could almost consider this leg is a bit more twisted, and I don't know. I think this is really as good as it's gonna get for now. It's not great, I know, but let me try something real quick. No, prefer it's thinner. So I mean, you know what I mean. It's very you gotta make choices. You know, you can't really just. Unfortunately, you can't get everything, and so try to do the best you can, and make the most relevant choices. Let me see if I can. I think the shading here doesn't help. Actually lower than that. I think I'm making a mistake here. Making them that. Maybe. Okay, this side is okay, I think, more or less. But this side doesn't look as good. And I want to avoid making both sides exactly the same. Sometimes I'll choose the easy way out and try and sort of copy the legs. But when you do this, if you're not careful, it can look very stiff and static for a character to have exactly the same, same arms or same legs or something. So I think copying, flipping is fine as long as you're careful and not to mess up your dynamic. Keep the character really dynamic and the pose to work. Sometimes it will just mess the pose really badly. So I guess maybe this is alright. We're gonna flip him again. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I think that's okay actually. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. You know what? I think his thighs are too long for the body, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because my shirt has to go down. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It was maybe a little big. Man, Frankenfurter is pretty big actually. Yeah, that's about right. I think it fits pretty well with Ash Williams there. I think I will do is just he's overall he's a little faded, lacks of color in his body, and he's a little. You see how colorful and contrasted and saturated this skin tone is. So I'll just use the levels for this usually, and just, you know, give him a bit of a punch there. Everything will be a little stronger in color, and just to get it right, same world, you know. I think we can go a little more even. Careful not to overdo it. But I think this is probably all right. And it's normal if, you know, his blue jeans are not as, you know, strong in color and brightness as her dress, because he's more of a, it's a very different character, you know. Still think, however, when I adjusted the blue of the pants, still I think I lost a little bit too much color. One thing you can do is pick with hue saturation. You can go in blues, pick the blues. We'll do kill all the saturation, just to make sure that we don't affect. You can do lightness to make sure we don't affect anything else. Let's see. I don't want to pick any of that. I actually picked the eyes, but that's okay. We can fix that later. It's okay. So here, just gonna go a little more saturated overall. Just a tiny bit. It feels a bit more. Forgot his shirt. Where was it? Make sure it's positioned correctly, like this. So I think there he's about right. You know, he's about where he should be, more or less. Yeah, smaller than Jason, but Jason is really, he's a monster, you know. He's a bit big, but that's okay. I'm just gonna adjust him just a little bit, maybe 1 pixel. I mean, he's a man, you know. It's not like he should be that much smaller or you know, shorter. It's about right. We'll deal with that later. Let's go back to their shirt. Now, the shirt maybe is a little too faded. That's max. It's a little too much. It's always a good idea to back out, zoom out quite a bit for something like this. Gives you a better perspective. You look at all the characters at the same time, you know, and if one of them is really you know, stands out the wrong way, then you can always fix this. Gives you good perspective. I think he's about right. He might be a little. I may have overdone the saturation on him. We're gonna ease out the levels just a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we're dealing with like really small things now, and I think shirt may have it about there. It's too much. That's not enough. I think I'll do around here. He's facing the wrong way, so go back to this. Now what else? What do we need? So we got the gun, got our shirt, we got the mullet, we have the little, oh, they did the knife. Yeah, I'd rather do that. And then pants, boots. So yeah, I think I'm gonna fade out his shirt a little more actually. It's only this. Look at this guy again. That seems okay. This button stands out too much and it's a little bit weird. Just gonna turn down the saturation of this. I think there's a few things that I could adjust there. Hold on. I was in the wrong layer. So it's just a few, now it's really just dealing with very small things. Do a little bit of the anti-aliasing on this because it's fabric, you know, so it's supposed to be a little bit softer. So I'll tend to do that. No. We'll use this. Come on. I'm sorry. For this, I really need to look at the small window. Very hard to figure if things work when you look at that zoomed in. So now at this point for the skin, you see I start putting a lot more different shades in it because I really want to be subtle with the things, how the shading works. So this tends to make everything a little bit more. I tend to add some colors there. It's a bit more interesting when it does a nice arc, you know. So just really at this point trying to find the best. I would love to fill a curve there, but it's pretty tricky. I don't want to mess him up too much at this point. But it's always, I think it's always worth trying to get things as good as you can. So even if that implies looking just a little bit, a few more minutes, I think it's always worth it. This curve also emphasizes the twist in the body, which is a good thing. Like, remember when I was mentioning about how dynamic a character looks? If his body is twisted a certain way, his legs the other way, or whatever. There's also another kind of dynamic posing trick, is the axis of the pelvis and the shoulders. So you'll see here, you do this, and this is always more dynamic. The classic top models, they know that very well. They will twist always their shoulders, and they'll try to twist their it's not apparent there, but I'll try to twist their hips the other way around, the other direction. So I don't really have a good example there, but more or less what you have to remember is it's always better to do. So let's say on this axis, you try to twist legs, for instance, this way, try to twist the body the other way, and then head the other way. You don't have to. I mean, it's not systematic, but it's something you can try. And on the other axis, you try to do this with the shoulders and reverse for the hips. Not same direction if you can. Like, not like this and this. You always try to change direction, and same thing on that axis, change direction. Yeah, so this is Jack Burton. I don't think we need the little guy anymore. He was right at the top. Let me see. Where were you? Yes. So we don't need him anymore. And we'll give him a little shadow. That's the tradition. Ground him a little bit. Very helpful to ground the character. About there. And I think we're going to call this done-ish. And you know me, it's never quite done. I will always go back a little bit and mess with things a little bit more. Actually, this is very red. This is wrong. I'm just gonna quickly do this. Just kill the saturate. It's probably because I picked a color that was over there and that had a lot of red into it. So just desat it. And for metal, I tend to put always a bit of blue in it. It helps to sell the metal. And we'll go like this, I think, because in fact it was too yeah, we'll do this, simple enough. Yeah, so that was Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, 1986 movie from John Carpenter. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you watch it. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy, and there's a lot of like sort of charming innocence, goofy humor, good action, interesting designs. bold choices, all sorts of good stuff that John Carpenter is very familiar with. Yeah, have fun. I'm pretty sure you can find this pretty easily on Prime or Netflix, or if it's not there already, it will be at some point. So keep an eye out. And in the meantime, I will say good night. It's 10:30 for me. We've been streaming for two and a half hours, right at the 2.5 hour mark for that character. Not too bad. Could have been worse. Sometimes it takes me 5 hours to do a character, or even more. And then I will see you guys next time for another character. I don't know which one it's gonna be, and I don't know when I'll be back streaming because my streaming schedule is all over the place. I'm sorry about that, but I can't really commit to a schedule right now. So, but I'll always try and post an alert somewhere on Twitter or, and of course on Twitch. So if you follow me, you'll get the alert. So I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe and have fun watching movies and doing pixel art. Thanks. Bye.